One more in the queue here. We got Teddy Driver calling in from California. Teddy, you are live on Talk Heathen. What's up?
Oh, good morning, boys.
Good morning. Or
hey,
evening,
what's going
I guess,
on?
but yeah, whatever. Afternoon.
Excuse me. I wanted to share a different experience of being an atheist.
Okay.
Because it started when I was a young child. I didn't grow up in a religious household, although I was baptized and circumcised, but we never went to church, didn't pray, none of that. And on top of that, I spent a lot of time with my 3 great aunts when my dad and mom wanted to go somewhere. And one of them was really into nature, and one of them was really into gardening, and just got me to open my eyes to the natural world. They had a neighbor next door with a wood shop, and I learned all about woodworking and stuff. And here I was, like 6 years old. It wasn't until I was 11 that my dad decided I needed to go to church. So I went up the street to the Lutheran church, and after 2 Sundays, I said to myself, these are nothing but fairy tales. And I never went back again. And my parents didn't do anything about that. It wasn't until I was 16 and my dad and mom were fighting every weekend. And a Catholic friend of my dad's got him to go to church and see a priest and blah, blah, blah. And he came home and announced it. And I'll never forget these words: we're all going to get into this together. And I got sent to catechism twice a week with a wet behind the ears priest from County Cork, Ireland. And we went round and round every single time. And finally it dawned on me, there's going to be trouble at home if I don't accept this. And so I went ahead. I got baptized, confirmed. I took communion, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until after I was married that I just walked away from it. And it's just
that's interesting.
I can't. I'm not able to.
Teddy, was your wife
really?
Was your wife Christian?
She was raised in a Catholic home. Not
how did that go
religious.
over when you walked away from your religion? How did that affect your marriage?
Oh, I had done that before I got married.
Oh, okay.
Really, I mean, I should say no. We got married. My first wife was a Christian. And, but we had to get married in the Catholic Church, and that was over in a few
years. So, Teddy, your story sounds a lot like mine, because like I was about 9 years old when I started realizing, like, man, I don't believe any of this stuff. This sounds like complete garbage. But it was kind of a process. I mean, I was 9 when I started questioning it, and 27 when I made my full my full conversion, if you will, to being an atheist. And so it was a long time, a lot of questions, a lot of back and forth, a lot of influence from my parents. And it's funny because I grew up Lutheran, and we weren't really all that religious either, except for that 1 hour a week. That 1 hour a week when I was in Sunday school. And I want you to know that I went around with the teachers too. I was kicked out of religion class twice. I was kicked out. I want you to know that. I'm very proud of that number. I hope nobody's beaten my record at that school. But it's funny. Maybe it's because you and I are both Lutheran or former Lutheran that we had a similar experience. But, I felt like at home, I was told I needed to be Christian. And I was told that we were Christians, but I really didn't see that playing out in the way that we lived our lives. I remember this one time in church where our pastor was like berating the audience for watching Seinfeld, and I thought that was so odd because my parents always watched Seinfeld, and they still watched it. And I said, well, this must not be that important, you know. Pastor doesn't like it, but mom and dad are cool with it, so maybe what the pastor has to say, doesn't really hold any weight, and that's important too because our actions are obvious to kids. Kids are watching us, and so I just thought it was interesting the parallel between the lie that you had to live and the lie that I had to, and kind of in the end we were both able to shed those shrouds.
Jimmy, I got to talk to you about this. Hold on, Seinfeld. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the problem with Seinfeld?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, they did a lot of things in there. I mean, there was one where Jerry stole the lady's marble rye and ran down the street on like Christmas time. That was hilarious.
Episode where they talk about masterbation the whole time. I guess it is a little risque.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like he just has issues with like Jewish people. Maybe that's the cause of it. I'm just speculating.
I'm sorry to steal.
Go ahead, Teddy.
When I was very young, when I first started realizing, I didn't even know the word atheist. It never been spoken. You didn't hear it anywhere. And even though I had given up my religion or given up false religion, I just never knew the word until maybe 10 or 12 years ago. I got to hear somebody turned me on to Christopher Hitchens, and that did it. I follow him. I've seen every single video of him, and I've been watching you guys and Matt on the line, and I just sit there and nod yes and nod no, same as you guys. But I found it difficult to visualize what it was for somebody to deconvert after they were an adult or something. Seth Andrews, he was in his 30s. So, it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
Well, I want to put you on to somebody. Named Objectively Dan, who runs a great... Hey, look, have you ever seen Truth Wanted? Great. If you have nothing to do on a Friday night, or better yet, if you do have something to do on a Friday night, you go ahead and cancel those plans. And you tune in to Truth Wanted. Tune into Truth Wanted like I've been doing.
Stop.
No, but you know what, Teddy? No, well, Teddy's right though, because I found the ACA and it helped me, kind of through my transition. I knew the word atheist, but it was a devil worshiper. That was the definition associated with that,
Yeah. I think that's the value I hope that we can provide on shows like these, is to, like, when we say promote positive atheist culture, that's not just a buzzword. It's like, we really mean that. We want to show like, hey, you can live an ethical life, sometimes a divisive life, right? You may not agree with all of our takes, but like, at least you get to have a take, right? Like Christianity doesn't even let you get that, right? Like, it's like, oh, you're this other thing. Well, you're not even talked about. Like, I had the same experience. I didn't know what an atheist was. I didn't really fully understand what that word meant, because every time I did hear it, it was always another Christian telling me what that was. It wasn't an atheist themselves telling me what they believed or didn't believe and everything else that comes with that. So yeah, I'm glad that you had the experience that you did. And I imagine it's not as unique as you might think. I bet there's other people in the comments section or in the live chat right now who will say, yeah, actually, I kind of had a similar thing where there's kind of a Christian a socially constructed idea of a Christian identity, rather than one that you may, sincerely believe. I think that can be quite common. But as someone who did, I guess I was an adult. I was like 20, 21. Some people say that's not an adult. I was an adult legally. That happened to me. It was quite difficult for me to manage that. Although a lot younger than, like, say 30 with Seth and some other folks. So there's different life experiences to compare there. But yeah, thanks, Teddy. Thanks for sharing that story with us.
Well, a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I actually came to the conclusion that I'm not an atheist. I'm an anti-theist.
Yeah, you can be both. There's nothing saying you can't be both. Yeah.
What's that?
There's no rule saying you can't be both. I don't think those are
Oh,
mutually
yeah,
exclusive
I know.
identities. Yeah.
I'm
Keep
also a
keep
human.
watching our shows. Keep watching
Yeah.
our shows and
I
call
will do
back.
that. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank you,
so much
Teddy.
for taking my call.
Of course. Thank you.